where these lines are coming from is what I'm calling the I Ching Lunar Oracle Calendar. And so this is from a hexagram. This is actually the last hexagram, the last line or yao or day of a 6-day cycle, which happens to be the eighth hexagram. And what this whole calendar system was inspired by Terence McKenna, and like I said, I'll get to that after we finish. Very excited, very excited. All right, what we have in this column is the Hebrew calendar, and by the way, most people aren't aware, but the Hebrews calendar is a lunar calendar. It's one of the most accurate lunar calendars there is, but it's also the most modern version of the original Babylonian calendar, which makes it the last vestige of the original Sumerian calendar. So that goes back 5,000 years, and so I'm very excited to include that year's Master Almanac. And you notice that right next to it we have the Islamic calendar, because I figured, these two really get along. And so, which is also a lunar calendar. So they're set right next to one another. And what's interesting, you can follow along and you can see they start to parallel one another, and they catch up, and one moves ahead and one moves behind, and it's kind of interesting. Brothers and sisters in the same family, whether they recognize it or not. So the top part of the Islamic calendar, is the lunar calendar is on top, and then underneath that you have the Manazel. Okay, the Arabic Manazels. Now the word zel means a resting place, because the caravans, going across the desert, when the sun reached its zenith, its high point, they would take call a siesta, right? They take a nap, and they call that a manazel. So what we have here are the lunar manazels, and that means the resting place of the moon, or the mansions of the moon, or the lunar zodiac, the lunar constellation that the moon is in every night. And what that means is, to them, the moon moves 13 degrees 20 minutes every day. They use the Western tropical zodiac to make this calculation. And what I've done is I've just listed the number of that lunar constellation right underneath the word Manazel. And so we can, you can flip to the book. And what do we have? That's Manazel 20. Whoa, come on now. Wrestling. We look here at the table of the Manazels, the Arabic Manazels, and we look at number 20. I'm even going to try to pronounce that. It's the constellation, their constellation, the ostriches. It begins at 4 degrees Sagittarius, and it means that the moon is moving through the realm of love and success. Right. So that was New Year's Day. And then I'll just kind of jump back here. Keep my finger on that page. What we have here is the next lunar calendar. You see all these, the last 4 columns are all lunar calendars. The last one is the Hindu lunar day. So there's basically the synodic cycle of the moon is 29.5 days, so they round that up to 30 days. It means, lunar phase to lunar phase, and they keep track of the lunar day. So that it's on New Year's Day, it was the 27th day in the 30-day cycle, and then it says, Tithi. Tithi means to the Hindus, they recognize that the moon moves The time it takes for the moon, a tithi is defined as the time it takes the moon to move 12 degrees. Yeah. Okay. So we go back in here, and so here's the table of the lunar tithis, right? And we look that it says that the moon is waning. It's the 20th tithi, and that day, the meaning of that day, or the energy potential of that day, is reverence, ceremony, and lighting the sacred fires. So let's see. Go back, and then underneath that, of the Hindu nakshatra, now which is their mansions of the moon, their lunar zodiac, their constellation, and they, I think, count 7 lunar constellations, and on their calendar it was nakshatra number 16. So we went back here. Oops. Here we go. It's hard to hold the camera and flip through the book at the same time, but here we go. Nakshatra number 17, I'm not going to try to pronounce that either. Right next to that is a rough translation. Disciple of Divine Spark, Lotus, Triumphal Arch is, roughly what that rough translation of that constellation is. Right next to that is the degrees that in the that constellation in the sidereal zodiac, which in this case is from 3 to 16 degrees Scorpio. Right next to that we have the names of the stars involved in that are included in that constellation, and then we have the meaning. Whoa, come back. The meaning, which is success, balance, goal, popularity, travel, sharing, yummy stuff. Okay, so one thing you need to know about all the notations in this calendar, it's all set to, instead of Greenwich, England, it's set to Central Time, 6 a.m. Central Time in the United States, which means that it's between around Chicago at 6 a.m. So the next column is the lunar phase photographic calendar. And so basically what I did is I photographed the moon for a month. That was fun. And then right underneath that we have the degrees of the moon in the Western Tropical Zodiac, which on New Year's 6 degrees Sagittarius. And then right underneath that we have the percentage of the moon visible, which is 9% according to the U.S. Naval Observatory. And then underneath that we have the degrees of the moon in the sidereal zodiac, the Eastern sidereal zodiac, which was 11 degrees Scorpio. And yeah, that's basically the makeup of the day pages. So you can go through this and find your birthday. And when you read your birthday, well, let's look at today. What is today? Is January 30th, I think. Yeah. Okay. So today is in the calendar, in the Sacred Geometry Paintings calendar, is it's a Sunday in the Gregorian calendar, which means it's ruled by the sun, which means that today is about playfulness, creativity, romance, and children, or childlike nature, right? Exploring our child nature. In my calendar, it's the 30th day of the calendar, and it's the day of exhilaration, question mark. And you can get a look at the image. Yeah, I love that piece. It's based on the 12th Almanac and the Masonic prayer, basically, which we could talk about another time. So then it says the sun is at 9 degrees Aquarius in the Western zodiac, which means, the sun represents our path of self-realization and creative self-expression. And underneath that it says that the sun is in in 15 degrees Capricorn. And so our path of self-realization is through Aquarius, which has to do with, brilliance, genius, humanitarian efforts, radical change and shifts. And Capricorn, 15 degrees Capricorn, is all about, solitude, learning and teaching, and execution. It's a good day for taking care of business, as ever. Then right next to that, we have the calendar. It says it's the day of Tu Moloch, which is water. The energy is focused in the east, which has to do with new beginnings. In all these things is all about emotion, the element of emotion, and feeling, and there's certainly, it's because it's raining here, off and on. Right next to that, you have Jose Aguirre's calendar. It's 11 red spectral Earth. Not even going to go into it. I'm not real fond of his calendar. It's I'm not going to explain why right now either. So moving right along. Today, or tonight, I should say, is the 6th day of the Aztec 9 Lords of the Night, and I'm not going to pronounce this woman's name, this goddess. She's the goddess of the stars, birth, and running water. Once again, water is indicated, and yes, it is still raining. Okay. Next to that, we have the Greek muses. We have Neti, the lowest note of the musical scale, which has to do with, we're talking about the bass note. And so it's certainly a way to reformulate and work on your foundation. Which I want to step back here and share an intuition I was given by the universe. Years ago, I was camped out on the west coast on Polahali, the spirit's house, on this long beach on Kauai, and I was fasting I was doing an experiment to see how long I could go without drinking water, and so I was camped out there, and I asked the question, what is the exact degree that I should use between the sidereal and tropical zodiac, and the universe said it's 25. And I said, what's the difference between the two? And the universe said that you can consider the sidereal zodiac is like the bass clef. It's like your bass note. It's like where you come from and who you are, right? It's your foundation. And then the treble clef is the Western tropical zodiac. It's where you are and what you're aspiring to, what you work on, and that just so resonated with me, and I've used it in a lot of my astrology readings with people, and I've never seen it not make sense. Okay, so anyway, where were we? Okay. So now today is here we go is number 19 in the Chinese 60-day cycle. Yeah, it's a Yang water horse. Once again, water is indicated, and did I mention it's raining? So then, today is also a Yin day. You can see by the Yao is a symbol for the Yin, and Earth, and also water. So then, right next to that, today is 25 Shvat. And then 26 Shafar in the Muslim calendar, it's Manazal 21. So let's look and see what Manazal 21 is. Ooh, come back. El Belda, the city, means the moon is in Sagittarius, the middle of Sagittarius. A good day for traveling, earnings, healing, and recovery. So it seems like overall, I'd say today is really about taking care of yourself. Gone into your emotional foundation. It's water. Good day for, which is always, whenever you do that, you're healing yourself. Anyway,